The studio lights blazed down like a spotlight on a ticking time bomb. The audience, buzzing moments ago with eager anticipation, suddenly fell silent. Silence so thick, it felt like a storm was about to break. Then, without warning, Prince Harry stood up abruptly, his chair scraping harshly against the polished studio floor. His voice, usually measured and calm, shattered the air with sharp intensity. "Kelly, I don't think this is productive anymore." The words hung there like a gauntlet thrown down. And just like that, the warmth supposed to happen. Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, had walked onto the stage expecting a lighthearted, feel-good interview, the kind that would let him promote his charitable work and personal projects. With the usual gloss, instead, he found himself cornered under the relentless gaze of Kelly Clarkson, whose Texan warmth had transformed into steely determination. This was no ordinary celebrity chat. "Hold back?" she asked what millions were thinking. No one dared voice. How does Harry reconcile his quest for privacy with the very public airing of his family's most intimate wounds? Netflix deals and publishing tell-all memoirs. The studio audience shifted uncomfortably, sensing the tension rising like a pressure cooker. Harry's carefully crafted, pressed, leaning forward, her voice calm but cutting. Harry's smile faltered, his jaw tightening. "That's a fair question," he said. But the edge in his voice betrayed his discomfort. "There's a difference between sharing our truth and having our privacy invaded without consent." The camera zoomed in, capturing the slight pause, before Kelly fired back. "But isn't all of this your interviews, your book, your Netflix series invitations to invade that privacy?" The tension was palpable, the studio audience now holding its breath as if witnessing a high-stakes chess match, each move more daring than the last. Kelly wasn't just asking questions. She was dismantling a narrative, piece by piece. She challenged Harry on his accusations of racism, financial cutoffs, and family betrayals. She pointed out the contradictions, how a man born into privilege with access to the highest echelons of power could claim to be trapped while wielding a global platform to tell his truth. Harry's responses grew defensive, his voice rising as he fought to maintain control. "Privilege doesn't mean you can't suffer," he insisted, anger flashing in his eyes. "Or family dysfunction." Kelly nodded, acknowledging the pain, but pushing further. "But you had choices. Most people don't. You could have tried reforming the monarchy from within. Instead, you left and criticized it from the outside. Isn't that like quitting your job and then complaining about your former employer?" Harry's composure was unraveling. He paced behind his chair, hands gesturing erratically. "You're oversimplifying centuries of institutional problems," he argued. "It's not that simple." Kelly's eyes narrowed. "You had direct access to the Queen, the King, the future King. What concrete steps did you take to address these issues before walking away?" The silence that followed was deafening. The camera cut to the audience faces, a mix of shock, disbelief, and fascination. Harry's mouth opened and closed, words failing him. Then came the most brutal blow. Kelly pressed on the core contradiction. In his narrative, you've accused your family of racism. If you witnessed it, what did you do in the moment? Speak up, demand accountability, or stay quiet and air it years later on television? Harry's hands trembled. The mask of control was gone. "I'm asking you to take responsibility. You say you stood up against injustice, but from what you've shared, sounds like you stayed silent and then left. That's not standing up, that's running away." And then came the meltdown. Harry abruptly stood, the scrape of his chair, echoing like a gunshot. "I'm done," he said, voice thick with emotion. "These aren't the questions I expected." Kelly rose to meet him, her calm voice now commanding. "We're not done. You came here to promote your image, but stories have more than one side. My audience deserves hard truths." The audience gasped collectively, the tension now a living, breathing thing in the room. Harry's face flushed red, his anger mixing with hurt. "Hard truths, that I prioritized my family over duty, that I chose love over loyalty. The hard truth is, you built a brand on victimhood. You've made millions telling the world how terrible your family is, while never owning your part in the dysfunction. You're not a revolutionary hero, you walked away from responsibility." The accusation struck Harry like a physical blow. His voice cracked as he shot back. "You don't know what it was like to grow up like I did, to lose my mother the way I did, to have every part of my life controlled and scrutinized. Kelly's tone softened. I don't know what that was like, but I know what it's like to have family problems. The difference? I didn't air our dirty laundry on international television. I worked on my relationships. I did the hard work of healing. How dare you? Harry's voice shook. How dare you suggest I didn't try to heal? You have no idea what I've been through. Then tell me, Kelly challenged, stepping closer, voice low and intense. Tell me about the difficult conversations you had with your father about feeling unsupported. Tell me about the times you tried to bridge the gap with your brother, because all I hear is blame, accusations, and walking away. Harry's breathing grew heavy, his composure shattered. You're twisting everything I've said. Kelly didn't flinch. I'm asking you to explain the contradictions. You want privacy but keep talking publicly. You say you want to heal but air your family's business. You say you protect your children but teach them running away and trashing family in the media is the answer. The final blow landed. You don't bring my children into this? Harry's voice was barely above a whisper, but every word struck. Like a hammer, Kelly's eyes locked with his. You brought them into it. Every time you go on TV, every book, every deal you teach them, this is how to handle family conflict. Is that really the lesson you want them to learn? The studio was utterly silent, the weight of those words sinking deep. Harry stared, chest rising and falling rapidly, then his voice cracked, thick with pain and fury. You sit here in your comfortable studio and judge me. You have no idea what it's like to lose a mother to media harassment, to watch a wife be torn apart by the same machine, to feel powerless against the system. Kelly's expression stayed steady, compassion tempered by resolve. I'm not judging you for protecting your family, but why wage a public war against your own relatives? Your mother gave interviews, played the media game, aired family business. Are you protecting your family or repeating the same painful patterns? The comparison was a knife in Harry's heart. His hand shook, voice rising to a shout. Don't compare me to my mother. She was fighting for her life, dignity, against people trying to destroy her. And isn't that what you're doing now? Kelly asked softly. Fighting your family, trying to destroy their reputation to protect your own? You accuse them of racism, cutting you off, failing to protect you. But you're a grown man. When do you take responsibility for your choices instead of blaming everyone else? Harry's face flushed crimson. He paced like a caged animal. You brought me here under false pretenses. This isn't an interview, it's an ambush. I thought Americans were respectful. Kelly's voice gained strength. We are, but we're also direct. And the truth is, you've played the victim while having every advantage. You blame your family but never admit some of it might be on you. Harry whirled to face her, some of it on me. My wife's near suicide, my family threatened, my children stalked. What part is my fault? Kelly stood taller, meeting his gaze. The part where you keep putting them in the spotlight, where you sign deals guaranteeing you'll keep talking about your private life. You can't demand privacy while selling your story to the highest bidder. We're telling our truth, Harry said through gritted teeth. No, Kelly said firmly. You're telling your version and expecting everyone to accept it. But truth isn't just your perspective. Your father has a truth, your brother has a truth, your stepmother has a truth. Where are their voices? That was the final crack. Harry's composure shattered completely. Their voice, that's the British establishment. Centuries of oppression, colonialism, systemic racism. Their voice is loud enough. That's not their voice. Kelly shot back. I'm talking about them as human beings. When did you last have a private conversation with your father that wasn't about money, titles, or public perception? When did you last call your brother just to see how he's doing? When did you try to build a bridge instead of burning one? Questions hung in the air, accusations laid bare. Harry's mouth opened and closed, searching for words. You're oversimplifying relationships, damaged for years. Damaged by whom? Kelly pressed. Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you've done a lot of the damage sharing private conversations, making unprovable accusations, turning family fights into public spectacles. How is that building relationships? His voice shaking with rage, Harry snapped. I came here to talk about my charity work, the causes I care about. Instead, you've spent the whole interview attacking me, my decisions, my family. I haven't attacked anyone, Kelly replied calmly. I've asked you to explain your contradictions, take responsibility, and acknowledge maybe your family isn't the villain in every story. But you can't do that, can you? Because admitting mistakes means admitting you hurt people you claim to love. Harry stood motionless, chest heaving, then finally said, I'm done. Done with this conversation, your questions, pretending this isn't a hit job. No, Harry, Kelly said quietly. This is accountability, something you've avoided for years. Accountability. Harry laughed bitterly. Let's talk about how the media hounded my mother to death, how they drove my wife to the brink of suicide, how they destroy anyone who doesn't fit their narrative. Stop, Kelly said firmly. Stop making this about everyone else. This is about you, your choices, your actions, your responsibility. You can't keep blaming the media, the institution, your family for decisions you made. As a grown man, Harry's face passed through rage, hurt, confusion, and finally, defeat. You're right. I made a choice. To protect my family, leave a toxic situation, prioritize my wife and children over loyalty. I'd make that choice again. Then, why are you so angry? Kelly asked gently. If you believe you did the right thing, why does it matter what I or anyone else thinks? The question stopped Harry cold. For the first time, he was silent, looking at her with eyes that seemed to see her for the first time, then barely above a whisper, because I need people to understand I'm not the villain. Kelly's voice softened. Maybe the problem isn't people thinking you're the villain. Maybe it's believing someone has to be one. Maybe your family isn't evil. Maybe the institution isn't entirely corrupt. Maybe your wife isn't completely innocent. And maybe you're not the heroic victim you've painted yourself to be. Maybe you're all just human beings who made mistakes and hurt each other. Harry stood frozen in that moment, Kelly's words washing over him like a tidal wave. Then, without warning, he reached up, pulled off his microphone, letting it fall to the floor with a sharp thud that echoed through the stunned silence. I'm done, he said quietly, voice barely audible. Done with this interview. Done with your questions. Done pretending any of this matters. And with that, he turned and walked towards the stage exit. Footsteps echoing like the closing of a chapter. Kelly watched, a blend of sadness and resolve on her face. Harry, she called softly after him, running away doesn't solve anything. It just creates more problems. He paused at the curtain, hand on the fabric, and for a flicker of a moment, it seemed like he might turn back. But then he pushed through and vanished behind the scenes, leaving Kelly alone on the stage, standing before a studio audience frozen in shocked silence. She looked out, then directly into the camera. Well, she said quietly, I guess that's one way to end an interview. The truth of what had unfolded would echo far beyond the studio walls. This wasn't the feel-good television anyone expected. This was a raw, unfiltered human drama, one that shattered illusions, cracked facades, and exposed the messy, painful reality behind the headlines. So, where do you stand? Was Kelly justified in pressing Harry so hard? Or did she cross a line no interview should ever cross? The story is far from over, and in this tangled web of love, loyalty, and betrayal, one thing is clear: no one walks away unscathed. If you want to dive deeper into these celebrity dramas that peel back the glitter and reveal the raw, messy truth beneath, subscribe and join the conversation. Because in the world of fame and family, the real story is never just black and white tits, shades of heartbreak, power, and the desperate search for a place to belong.